Jeffrey Epstein, that's real. That happened. But it's also not the case that, it's a demonic, satanic pedophile cult run in the pizza shop basement with Hillary Clinton doing child sacrifice. Like, you can be nuanced on this stuff. You could say the Epstein stuff is real. There's a lot of questionable stuff there, but also they're not literally like demon-worshipping evil people in a basement of a pizza shop. You know what I mean?
It's evil enough. You don't have to bring the supernatural into it.
So true. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
It's trafficking.
Yes.
It's sex trafficking. And it's also involving leaders of giant financial institutions, politicians, celebrities, scientists.
I need to see that black book, that Epstein black book.
Oh.
You had Bill Clinton, you had Donald Trump, you had all these
Bill Gates.
billionaires. Yeah, billionaires,
lying
celebrities. They're all lying. He was the CEO of Elite Sex Crimes Incorporated, and then he died in jail.
Yeah, mysteriously.
See this video with Bill Gates recently?
Yes, I did. I should have had dinners with... Well, have you seen Whitney Webb's take on Bill Gates' connection to Jeffrey Epstein? It goes way further. It goes way back.
His wife has blown the whistle on this and was like, oh, Bill Gates is saying he just had a couple dinners with him or whatever. His wife's like, let me tell you something. That's not true.
Yeah,
he was really close with him.
Not just close with him, but went to the island. He knew him very well. They had all sorts of business dealings together for quite a long time. It goes way back. He knew him. He knew him early on. Like, Whitney Webb was like, she was on Russell Brand's show recently, and she went into great detail. She's fascinating. Like, she can pull up data and information off the top of her head. She's like such a good researcher. But just absolute facts about the connection between Gates and him. Yeah,
it's a lot of very famous, very wealthy people.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the guy had an island.
An island.
Like, who has an island? What are we talking about here?
Do you know the bit that I'm doing on stage now about that? That, like, people saw Clinton there and like, oh, we're fine. Clinton's
That's such a great point. Yeah. I was laughing hard at that line because it's so true. Yeah, it gives the feeling of like, oh, like our former national daddy figure is here, so like it's everything's okay.
One of the things that people will do to try to get me to come to a thing is they'll tell me, hey, this guy's going to be there. That guy's going to be there. Like, they'll send me an email. Hey, Joe, are you interested in coming to our event, our thing, our retreat, or whatever? And blah, blah, blah is going to be there. And from this band and that comic and this thing. And it's like, you go, oh, well, that famous person's going to be there. I can be there too.
Right. That's how they try to get you.
Talk one person into doing it that's prominent and recognized. And then you're like, oh, well, I will be in good company if I go there.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they did.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty convincing stuff that Jeffrey Epstein was actually Mossad, Israeli intelligence.
I've seen that too.
Yeah, there was an article, I forget where it was. It may have been Daily Mail, which is a questionable source, but they were talking about how Jeffrey Epstein was meeting with like a former Israeli prime minister. Yeah. So, I mean, he also was meeting with U.S. presidents too, of course. But I think there's some reason to believe that this guy, because if you have dirt on everybody, why do you have dirt on everybody?
It's just
what exactly is going on here?
The craziest thing that they murdered that guy in jail, and it's just like sweep.
Yeah.
That's all done.
And by the way,
let's concentrate on Ukraine now.
Yeah, nobody actually believes he killed himself. I haven't met anybody left wing, right wing, center, apolitical. Everybody's like, that's kind of sketchy.
Yeah, I've met some people that believe it, but they have a reason to believe it. It's like they have this like vested interest in wanting to believe it.
Yeah,
the
skeptics. Yeah,
not even necessarily skeptics. It's like maybe they have some weird connection to it that they don't want you to know about. They want to make it look like it's not that big a deal, and they got him. One of the most eerie ones was when Bill Gates was being questioned about it.
He's dead now.
Yeah, he's dead now, so you have to be careful. What the fuck does that mean? Jesus Christ. He's dead now, so I guess you have to be careful. Like, what?
And Ghislaine Maxwell came out recently and said, I don't think he killed himself.
He didn't.
Yeah.
Michael Baden, that famous autopsy doctor, the guy who was from the show Autopsy, he said that out of thousands of cases of people hanging themselves that he's personally investigated, he has never seen anybody with those injuries.
That's right.
And that those injuries were of a person who was strangled.
Yes.
And that the broken bones in his neck indicate of a ligature strangulation. The area where he was strangled was low on the neck, which is not where you get when someone's hanging by their own weight, which is higher on the neck because your body weight is dragging it down. He's like, that was someone who got strangled.
And the security cameras were magically not working.
magically not
the
working.
The guards were somewhere sleeping or something, and
Yeah.
there was wasn't it like some former cop like Juicehead who they think did it?
Well, there was a former cop who was a giant dude.
Yeah.
Who was his cellmate, who I think he murdered people. I think that's what he went to jail for. What did that cop? The cop was fucking jacked too.
Yeah, he was.
And
He's still getting the sauce in there behind bars.
I don't know if he was still jacked in jail. Did they
Oh,
give
was it
him
an
a
old
s-
picture in the article I read?
I think it was.
Okay,
But he
gotcha.
was a corrupt cop. And if you're a corrupt cop and you're involved in drug dealing and this and that, you probably murdered a few people. You know, and if
What'd they offer him?
maybe they gave him juice. Maybe they say, listen, brother, I know
They're
you're
getting him on the cheap if that's all they gave him. He could ask.
Look
Yeah,
at that
this guy.
Look at the size
Look
of
at
that
this.
motherfucker.
Jesus Christ.
They contend that proof
Tartaglione over
I
here.
don't know what the article is about.
Tartaglione
Hey.
tried to help Epstein would have been powerful mitigation in the penalty phase if he was found guilty of any death-eligible charges. So what does it say? The disappearance video footage of the financier and sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein's first suicide attempt should mean that his cellmate, ex-Westchester cop Nicholas Tartaglione,
That's where I'm from, by the way, Westchester.
doesn't
Hilarious.
face the death penalty in a drug-related quadruple homicide. Wow. So that could be... Look, if I was going to have somebody kill somebody, I'd have that.
Oh,
dude.
absolutely.
You're going to have somebody strangle
Yeah.
somebody? How easy could he do it?
Oh, yeah. No,
What size is that motherfucker?
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So maybe that's what they did. Maybe they offered him a plea, or maybe they offered somebody else a plea. But, you know, the evidence that nobody did anything was like, well, no one new entered into the cell block. That's what they said. We don't have the cameras, but we're reasonably sure that no one entered into
When
the
I
cell
was looking
block.
this up, this popped up too, which said somebody else was his last cellmate. That guy was was a cellmate of his.
Jesus.
So he died from COVID-19,
This is
they're
a different
saying?
They're saying his former cellmate died of
Different
COVID-19.
person.
That's
Well,
what
who's
they're
that
saying.
guy?
That's I don't know. I'm just saying it's the first time I've ever seen.
Prisonlegalnews.org.
But he
Not sure
died
about
in
that
it.
one.
But he was released though. It says he died in his mother's apartment in the Bronx from COVID-19 that he contracted while in the Queens, New York Correctional Center. Maybe. Prior to his stay at the Queens lockup, Reyes was housed at the Manhattan Correctional Center, where he was Jeffrey Epstein's last cellmate. Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. They could be looking for something there. He could have actually just died from COVID.
No, that's
Because
not
he
what
was
I'm-
released.
That's not what I'm saying here. My point of bringing this up was when I Googled Jeffrey Epstein's last cellmate, this guy popped up, not the other.
Oh, not the
guy.
juice head guy.
Oh, but the juice guy was his cellmate at one
Yeah,
point.
that was
time?
in all the articles that I read at the time of his death brought up that former cop.
There's so many levels to this conspiracy
Yeah.
mystery.
But again, all this stuff we're talking about,
Yeah.
totally